That it might be. Hi, we're live and we're discussing the intricacies of lighting.
Thank you. Hi, Nancy Jean.
Hi. Do you know what you're informed, Miss Medium Kim? Have you seen any of the psychic profiles?
One. I saw one. I don't remember who I saw now. Linda G, I think. Oh, it's Linda G.
Okay. Anyway, I asked each of the readers the same 20 questions, and I caught a little bit of flack. Somebody said, why do you call them psychic profiles? Well, it's the most overall word I could find. I can't say empowered energy workers working in our universe files. That doesn't make sense, you know. And I consider I'm having on a woman who was called into working with energy in her early 20s, who does nothing but deal with earthbound attachments. She goes and works with those who are either have picked up an attachment or someone that's earthbound that doesn't want to leave. That's her whole practice. Wow. And it's like, you know, people say, well, is she a medium? Is she this? Is she that? It doesn't matter. What you are is you're working with energy, and hopefully for the benefit of everyone. Now, I can tell you, you can go on YouTube and you can find readers and psychics and people that will tell you anything. And then you have to use your own common sense. But I'm trying to find the people who I feel best convey a journey, because one of the things I found out, we were talking about before we went live to Kim about how I might not have been live right now had I not made this choice I made in June. And one of the things is a lot of people are like, but I want to learn how to do what you do, or I want to know how to do this. And there are places you can train. There's all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of readers who use that path. There's a lot that don't. There's a lot of people that really woke up one day in their middle age and said, oh my God, this stuff's real. And then there's people who were with it since the day they were born, or they were born into a family. Mm-hmm. I don't know if most people know this, but Andre Carr is a 5th generation astrologer.
Wow.
So, you know, so he is kind of born in it, you know. So wow. You're going to hear all the trails that go to the same place. We're working for the best within the universe. And with that, that's why Psychic Profiles are here. And I invited Miss Medium Kim Copeland. Because Kim and I have known each other since I was first on YouTube.
Yeah.
And we've done a lot of fun things together. We did a great show on death and dying and how to get ready for it. And Kim knows about that because you still do hospice nursing?
No, I'm writing my book on hospice nursing
right now.
So I'm refreshing in it now some of the stories that I've, experienced. But thank you for having me, Nancy Jean.
I'm so glad you could make it.
It's an honor. It's an honor to be here. I appreciate it so much.
And we're filling up with folks, and these folks are good. They understand this is not the show where you ask questions. I ask the questions. I have my 20 little questions here. So
okay,
we're going into question land, kids.
Okay.
Kim, when did you first realize you had psychic abilities?
Interesting. Well, I would say as a child, not child, teenager. I noticed that I felt like I could tell the future. I felt like things would happen, but I didn't actually call it psychic at all.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought, I knew that was going to happen. I just knew stuff. But I did grow up in a metaphysical family, but that doesn't mean I practiced. And I studied astrology. I studied palmistry. I studied numerology as a kid when I was like 8 to 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That young. But then, I didn't know I had any special anything until, I would say, here's one thing. When my mom passed, when I was only 12, that was a time when I started exploring a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I still never discovered mediumship, though, till I was in my, maybe 40s, I would say. Mm-hmm. But in the meantime, when I was about in my 30s, I'd say, I started all of a sudden woke up because I saw a medium on TV, Rosemary Altea. She's still practicing. I think she's about 80. I don't know. And I just thought, I'm so interested in that. But then I took a lot of different paths and many paths. I took massage therapy, shamanism, healing touch, all kinds of different healing modalities because I was a nurse already.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was doing the healing work is when I discovered I could see the spirit world.
Uh-huh.
So it was just natural. I didn't take a class in spirit or anything. I just was seeing angels. I could see angels as people were on the table. I was working with them, whether it was even with massage too, but
Mm-hmm.
especially with the energy work. When I would go just energy work, then the angels would show up kind of on the walls, in the corners
Mm-hmm.
of the walls, and then I would see also departed loved ones sitting on the sofa, and so it was an easy transition, I guess, into that
Mm-hmm.
world. And so down the road, then I studied mediumship. I decided, okay, I'm gonna develop this,
Mm-hmm.
and I have. So that was, I don't know. I mean, I've studied psychic work since 1995 when I
Okay.
was psychic. You know, developing
Mm-hmm.
mostly psychic shamanism, energy work since 95, but mediumship probably that was around 2010, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. hmm So it's been a journey. I love it. I think I was born for it, to tell you the truth, because I think for me, and I think many of us here that are watching, the
Mm-hmm.
desire was so strong, and I feel like when we have the desire, then we're going to go for it. Versus, I mean, obviously, if a person is a medium as a child, but they don't have the desire, they probably won't develop it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so for me, it
Or
was a
they, in I'm a little older than you, but in the generation I was among, that they beat the shit out of you. I mean, my parents didn't, but there are a lot of kids. You can't know that, and that's evil. And we're
Mhm.
gonna put you at the back of the church, and
Yeah. So, yeah, I didn't have that experience, but yeah,
because
so
you didn't have that upbringing.
yeah. Uh-huh.
My parents didn't do it to me either, but boy, I know a lot of people that
Okay.
you're talking to the devil.
Some people still think that.
Oh, they belong to a certain political party. Okay. Is there a single aha moment that you realize this is really the path I'm on? Or I think you've explained a more gradual growth through your health connections.
Well, I think it was in 95 when I
Hmm.
saw the medium on TV, and it's
Okay.
like I knew then I needed to go for it. I knew that. Well, I mean, I had been, remember, I grew up interested,
Hmm.
because I mean, yes, I read Nancy Drew, the typical little girl stuff, but
Hmm.
my mom had a whole library of astrology, numerology, different books, metaphysical books. And so I was reading those. That was, so I was even interested back then.
Way cool.
Yeah.
So we've covered the third question. Did you notice unusual experiences as a child? Yes, we've done that. How did people around you react when you began to share your experiences?
Well, it's funny. I didn't have anybody that like balked. I mean, I think I have that more now. Maybe I've always had just supportive people.
Hmm.
There's a few people in the family that say, "Oh, crazy" or whatever, but no, most of the time I would say not. And I had a very supportive husband too. And
Very
he
good.
was actually way more maybe intuitive. I wouldn't say intuitive, very much like a shamanic journeyer. Well, like we would get together with friends, and he'd never studied like I did,
Hmm.
but we would get together with two other couples. I remember we lived in Colorado Springs at the time when this was in my early stages, back to like 95.
Hmm.
And we would do shamanic journeys and talk to each other about what we were getting. And my husband, when we'd be hiking, he'd see spirits on the trail,
Hmm.
and he had no training at all. For him, it was all just very natural.
Hmm.
All he had to do is say yes. But now, I mean, he's my ex-husband now, um, and now I think he feels, he's not sure what to think
Well, they go through that.
now.
My husband didn't see it in the way we think of seeing,
Uh-huh.
how bringing things in about quantum reality, but he has two pioneer patents in physics. And I don't know, people who don't know what that means, it means he put together materials in a way they'd never been used before and came up with something that was very basic to physics moving forward.
Yeah,
And he told me it's just like when you read, all of a sudden one day I just understand.
got it. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he said there's so many fields where people do that and they don't understand it's the same thing.
Kind of
They
right.
want to think I was just smart enough to finally see it. He said, no, it was always there. I just happened to be at that point of time and energy where it could come through.
Wonderful. But I think the more I know about the world, the unseen world, the more I know I don't know.
Yep. Yep. My phone's talking to us. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know how to turn that off. I can turn everything else off. Did you seek training or did you explore this all on your own?
Oh, I absolutely had training. No, for sure. Always. I've been in training actually since 95.
Okay.
I do some training now.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a mentor for 8 years, the same one.
Mm-hmm.
And no, for sure. I feel that for me, it's important. Well, but one, I love to learn. One, I
Mm-hmm.
like formal education. I like a structured learning environment. I feel like if I was doing it on my own, I don't know, it would be different. I like the support. And if I have a question, who do I ask?
Yeah, and we all learn differently. We all know. I mean, I know I have a friend who works at a school and it was set up primarily to deal with kids that were dyslexic or they couldn't translate English reading. And there are 22 separate ways that they can work with those kids to help them understand English. Most of us, the majority of us fall into one camp, but there's 22 different methods to help make the English language make sense.
Oh my goodness.
And so you can imagine in our world what it's like.
Right. And there's so many aspects to this world we're talking about. We're talking about the spirit world. Look at whether it's mediumship or psychic development or, astrology, numerology. I mean, all these things, so many more. Now the galactic beings are big time coming.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are becoming more aware of the galactic beings. I've seen the galactic beings, I don't know, at least I'd say about 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
But it's some people like it's all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And in a way, I kind of like that I just sort of fell into this and kept growing in it because
Yeah.
a lot of the things people are being asked um, uh, to just jump in whole. I mean, that's one of the things that kicked me into doing the psychic profiles is people saying, what do I do with all this? It's all happening to me at once. And I keep telling them, you have choices. I was told at 17 when I had everything I had. I mean, it was all there in the background. But the people who worked with me, they said, you don't have to accept every gift. And in my case, it was, I didn't want to deal with attachments, earthly attached spirits. I don't do that. But
Yeah, no, I don't either. I don't do that either.
but anyway, so
Oh,
you had your important mentor who helped you. What's
yeah.
the best advice that your mentor gave you?
Oh my gosh. Meditate. Sitting, everything comes from the heart. I think that's the biggest thing. And I think that's with anything. And so some mentors can be very, I would say, linear, and more task and more technique. No, he was more, sometimes we just sit for an hour meditating. So
Mm-hmm.
so that's what I appreciate about him is that everything comes from the heart, and from there you go from there. That's like your baseline.
Right.
And so if you have that baseline, then you can do whatever you
Yeah,
want.
well, that makes sense because if you think of the chakras, you start with your root, the just blanked.
The spleen,
No, this root, what's between the root and the solar plexus?
the spleen of the second chakra. Spleen.
Second chakra. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you get to your heart. It's in the middle. Then if you come from the top down, you've got the crown, the third eye, and the throat.
Yeah.
If the heart doesn't work, that whole chain doesn't work.
Right.
That's the fastest place for it to get blocked.
The balancer. And now this heart coherence, which is very popular.
Oh, I love it. I love heart coherence.
Having the head and the heart together. I mean, this is where we are. I think for people when we are in this ascension, I don't even think it's not even ascension, but how are we going to stabilize with all this external chaos? We got to come into the heart.
Right. Well, it's energy that we need to reform around us so we can live with it. But anyway,
Yeah.
What specific tools did you work with at first? Did you have a specific tool or?
Uh-huh. Well, originally I was very focused. Well, okay, two things. One, with the shamanism, I worked with the drum.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I never felt good like I accomplished that whole genre. I mean, yes, I can drum, yes, but I feel like the drum is actually gets in the way for me. I would prefer to go take a journey without the drum.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just me. Everybody has their own way. So that was a tool. Of course, there are tapes you can listen to for drumming as well. But for me, my biggest tool was myself, my
Mm-hmm.
hands. I used my hands. So my hands, because I was doing a lot of healing work. Even as a nurse, I would be working with people maybe who had wounds.
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of wound care back then. And I would always do a little, whether they knew what I was doing when I was doing the bandages or whatever, I always did a little healing on that wound. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes in particular, I might even ask them, it's okay if I did some, healing touch, which is
Mm-hmm.
well known in the nurse, as for nurses. And so it gave me evidence that it worked.
Mm-hmm.
And I would see wounds heal or the pain or people's chest pain. Like if
Mm-hmm.
so anyway, I would say my hands were my first tool.
Cool. Yeah, I
Yeah.
took a quick course in massage, and I was massaging this guy's back, and I could feel holes in his back, but there were no holes there. And he had been in Vietnam, and that's where he'd been shot.
Oh, yeah.
You
Right.
know, those old scars that don't quite go away. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, for sure.
There's a lot when you work in massage and you work, even if you're cutting hair,
Uh-huh.
anything that touches another person's body, I'm going to warn you right now, you really need to learn how to buckle up and control the energy and protect yourselves because you're going to have a lot of energy coming around you.
Hmm.
My impression.
Yes, yes. Right. I like to ground for that grounding, of course. It's very important.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. How do you tell the difference between a psychic impressions and your imagination?
Okay. Well, I would say for me, when it's a surprise, that's the easiest way to tell that
Mm-hmm.
it's psychic, that I know I'm not just making it up. But
Mm-hmm.
I would say to develop that skill to know the difference is practice. And
Mm-hmm.
you have to have sitters who can validate so that you can feel it's like a difference of a feeling or
Mm-hmm.
to chills, body chills. Even if I'm thinking it and I haven't said it yet, and I start having chills, then I know I'm on
Mm-hmm.
the path. So that's
Mm-hmm.
one way, but then also it just feels different to me. It, and again, like I said, if it's a surprise, then I know it's psychic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my guys have told me just say it. You know,
Uh,
if I really swallow backwards, I know they're not coming from.
oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Oh no, you got to just say it. And even if you're wrong, so what?
I
You got
know.
to see it. You got to practice. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I want to encourage everybody practice because everybody is psychic. Everybody is in
Mm-hmm.
just developing it on the interest. There has to be an interest and practice.
Very good.
Yeah,
Okay, then were there moments when you really doubted yourself and said maybe I should toss in the towel and?
sure. Lots of moments, lots. I mean, even I would say just recently, even I have those moments. Well, but you know what keeps me going though? Um, uh, I keep getting from friends.
Mm-hmm.
Even yesterday, I was in a
Mm-hmm.
trance communication, which means you're in trance, speaking to the spirit world through in trance. Okay,
Right. Mm-hmm.
so it's not just regular mediumship; it's in a different way. It's a deeper. Okay, so the teacher used me as a um, example.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of her trance, speaking to me, she said, "You don't know how many people you affect," or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I thought, okay, that's my clue. I got to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I get clues like that along the way. We don't know how many people we affect, and I do know, even though I may not feel like I affect that many people or help that many people, which is my goal is to help people, of course. And I think, oh, nobody wants to hear what I have to say, or, I go through that. But then when somebody says, oh, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know. And also you look at people in the community, we always want to support each other, holding the light. And we all have to hold the light. And if I gave up, well, maybe somebody else is going to give up. And then their friend gave up. We can't give up.
No.
This is not the time to give up.
We have a right to draw a line around ourselves, though, because Kim's talking about, she's just gone through the same thing I went through this year, kind of a health crisis.
Yeah.
And you have to learn that that's the universe's way of telling your body to slow down and wait. And it's, and as much as they may all still need us out there.
Right. And that's a hard one for me to slow down. I don't know about you.
Oh, I know. I push through. I actually have other friends in the community who'll call me up and they go, you're doing too much. I did a show. I'm doing 2 psychic profiles this week, you and Sun Psychic Jean tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, I'm doing something I haven't done in a long, long time. I'm going to a cultural event that invited me to come read cards because it's close to Halloween in a very, very famous National Museum, the National Museum of Asian Art. And it's in downtown Dallas. It's a big deal. It's where a lot of young people come. And what I'd been saying to my guides was, I'd kind of like to read. I love my community, but I'd like to branch out, but I don't know how to do that anymore. And all of a sudden, this lady called me up and said, would you like to come read?
Awesome.
And it's all going to be 20s and 30s out looking for a fun Friday night kind of thing.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome, Nancy Jean.
So I get to wear they missed my bright orange cloak with a big cape hat that says they missed one in 1692. For those of you who don't know, that was the Salem witch trials. Okay. How do you handle skepticism? Do you run into that much, or do you just kind of say?
Sometimes, not too often. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, I gave a reading to somebody who never had a reading before. And she was on the skeptical side. She was actually from another country, and I'm not even sure where. But she had an accent, a heavy accent, and there was a little bit of a communication barrier as well because of that. But I could tell she was a little, well, so what do you mean by that? When I pointed my finger, like, you mean you don't have a good man picker? And I was just pointing like, you mean you can't pick good men, And she didn't understand what I was talking about because she's the one that said it herself, but she didn't understand the finger situation. Anyway, well, I guess she was sort of skeptical, but I got a nice email from her so thanking me. So it was fine. But, sometimes you just have to say, well, if they're going to be really closed off, I mean, you just have to kind of let it go.
Well, no, and we may never see what a difference it makes, but I've had people come back to me when I used to read in the wine bar all the time, and they'd come back 2 years later and they just come by and quietly say, you were right, and walk on. I mean, I'm sorry I was an AH, but
Yeah, right. No, I get that too. Sometimes, but
so
go ahead.
Our abilities go through stronger and weaker shifts. And I know that's true for me. If that's true for you, how do you feel do you cause those shifts, or are they just natural and it's the ebb and flow of life?
Oh, okay. Well, okay. I think there's a few reasons they can be ebbed and flowed. One, it could be the natural cycle of the moon. Some people are more psychic in a full moon, or maybe they're less psychic in a full moon. I think in the olden days, during the full moon, there would be lineups for the especially if you were on your cycle. There seemed to be more more psychic. So, I mean, I think we can look at that for ourselves, where we go in that way. Also, I mean, obviously health. And there's also life events. Like if we're got so much going on in our life that we can't focus. Another thing, if we haven't done it in a while, let's say even 2 weeks, then you might feel a little bit rusty. So again, staying with it and continuing the development. And then I think, but you're always going to have good days, bad days. I think that's normal. I don't care whether you've been doing it for 100 years or not. Everybody has good days, bad days. I mean, better days. You know what I mean? Than others, where you feel like you've got everything, and then some days you're going like, well, I don't know. But I think to get through it, you tell yourself you can do it. I can do it. I can do it.
Just in my cases, I was normally a card reader. Put the cards on the table and read them.
Okay.
Do it.
Oh, yeah. See, I've never really done I mean, a little bit for myself, but it's not like I would call myself a card reader.
But you use the energy you get, the information you get. You just have to use it.
Right. That's why I use my body. I use my body and my hands, and yeah.
How do you protect yourself? How do you protect your energy?
Okay. First of all, I would just say I don't have fear about it. And I feel, for me, I start again with a heart. I bring the light in my heart, and I just push it out. That to me is my protective field. Because if I start out there and bring it in, I don't know what I've collected along the way. So I start in the middle and I go out. And that's enough for me. I don't ever really even use the word protection. I just say, I'm going to open my light, and I only know that only light will be here. And I just say it that way versus the idea that I need to be protected because I'm afraid. I'm not afraid. I've been in a little trouble. One time I was in a trouble with somebody, and guess who helped me? It was Dr. Gail. She didn't know I was in trouble. Well, she did know, obviously, because she helped me. She's good
at that.
Yes. She said, the next day she called me because I thought I had been I was working with somebody who wanted me to remove a dark energy from her.
Right.
It's not my talent. And I was just sort of reluctantly said yes. But then Mother Mary, who usually sits on my right side, I heard her say, no, don't do it. And then when I said, well, no, I'm going to try it anyway. And then I saw Mother Mary, she left. Or at least I wasn't aware of her.
I gave you my best advice. I'm out of here.
Exactly. And so then anyway, I wasn't a good deal. And then Dr. Gail didn't know about it at all. She said Jesus came to her and said I needed help. And she cleared it. And she told me the next day, she said, I forgot to ask you ahead of time.
Yeah, she'll do that too. You bring up a good point. A lot of us can do a lot of different things. It doesn't mean it's appropriate for us to do that in the situation we're in our lives. So like I did a 6-month reading for a woman, and in the interim I fell into a whole season of dead files.
Oh, wow.
Her house was on Native American land that had wars on it. It was also heavily affected by the elementals that had been there since time began. And on top of that, then every person who'd moved in that house before she had, on that land before she had, there had been a family that had ripped everybody off, and they were afraid to cross over into heaven. So they were still haunting the place. So now she's got elementals, Native American. I mean, it was like, I'm reading her thing and I'm going, this is nuts. And she said, well, how can I fix it? And I'm like, I can tell you what I see. I can't tell you. I was like, you got a leak under your sink, but I'm not a plumber. Yeah. She found the shamans. She found the plumbers. She found it. It's an awesome story, and she's working on now letting herself go from all the energy she was surrounded by for so long.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And that's a real challenge. But, somebody said to me, well, you're not going to help the woman? I said, I helped her. I told her what was there. She'd been living in it for 20 years and she hadn't noticed. Well, she'd noticed, obviously, but not how bad it could be.
Well, yeah, you're not going to go to a heart surgeon to have dental work. Same.
I know. Well, at least we're not under the current FDA rules. We're not.
But I think the public, though, generally they somewhat may feel, oh, everybody knows everything, but that's not. Yeah. Right.
No, there's people who are healers. There are people who are distant healers. Like, I have tried for all my soul to read a book on Reiki to understand what it is. Yeah. And I'm not altogether sure I even understand what it is. And I know it's not anything I want to do. But some of my best people, I have 2 Reiki people work on me all the time. And I'm like, fine with it.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
Okay, wisdom and insights. We're getting on in this interview.
Okay.
Do you think psychic abilities are innate, and can anyone develop them?
Yes, I can think anyone can develop them, and I think we all have innate abilities. Okay. I mean, of course, it's just like playing the piano, right? Some people are naturally better than others, but I really feel like desire and practice, desire and practice. We
Mhm.
all are innately intuitive. We just may not know we are.
Well, and when you wake up, don't say, well, I can't do it as fast as they do it. That doesn't make a bit of difference. What signs might someone notice if they're gifted? Have you
Okay.
talked to people who said, I think I might have a
Oh,
thing
sure.
here?
All the time. Well, one, they might have dreams, like prophetic
Mhm.
dreams. They might also see spirits,
Mhm.
just very obvious, like they see spirits. But even if somebody's seeing spirits, I still feel development on that, you know.
Mhm.
And then some people just know stuff. What I find most people is they know stuff, but they don't feel like that's psychic because they're not seeing it. So they're separate. They're not realizing that knowing things is different than because where everybody's so in, they value clairvoyance.
Mhm.
And so if they know it and they're not seeing it, they don't believe they're psychic. So that's
Mhm.
what I find. Also, some people get that real hot, in their hands. I say definitely healers, especially.
Mhm.
Or you can have that. Oh my gosh, I forget what it's called, where you touch things and you can read. Well, of course, what is not kinesiology? It's oh, well, you know what
Yeah, I know. It's I actually I thought I couldn't do it, and I went to a weekday thing, a day long thing that the guy who did Many Lives, Many Masters did,
Yes, yeah,
and he had us kinesiology. He had us
psychometry.
psychometry. Yeah, he had us hold a thing from each other.
Uh-huh.
The other person, we were all matched off with someone else in the audience, and the poor lady next to me, she got my piece of jewelry, and she ran into the person who tried to strangle me when I was a baby, and it was just horrified her. And I told her, no, 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 I understand all of why it happened. I know the whole thing. I know why it happened. And until I recognized that energetically, that had happened to me when I was so small, I choked on a bottle is what I was doing, and they were not moving me to stop me from choking. And she said, uh, she said, well, how do you live with that? And I said, because once I understood that had happened to me, I never had those kind of breathing. I would literally have my throat closed shut when I got frightened.
Oh wow, yeah.
So, there are important things you can learn from all the things that people can help you with
Hmm.
in digging out the shadow work.
Yeah, yeah. I also want to say most people, I would say, are really good at feeling.
Hmm.
This that clairsentient. They're very
Hmm.
good at that. So, in other words, if they run into a person or a building or a room or a hotel room, whatever, and they feel something there, it's different than with their normal home. That's clairsentient. And
Oh
that's
yeah, and it's good to pay attention to those things because I ran into a ghost in a hotel in London, England. It's a good thing to learn
yeah,
how to put your track shoes on and go the other way.
yeah, yeah.
Um, how has your work changed your worldview, your beliefs, and your systems about life and death?
Okay. Well, of course. Well, I mean, it's changed everything for me. But you remember, I always have believed in reincarnation. That was never in
Hmm.
doubt for me. But I would say, as I've developed, what I feel is most important for me, anyway, is to stay in the power of the light and integrity and kindness. I think kindness and compassion, because when I see in the spirit world people perhaps who haven't had the most uh, integrity in their lives,
Hmm.
then those people have, a little sorrow, of course, regret, or
Hmm.
maybe they don't even go to the light because they're too afraid. So,
Hmm.
so I think what I want to take home is do the best you can. Do the
Hmm.
most kind things you can, even if it's like I went like yesterday. I was having a good day. I was at the park early in the morning before sunrise, or just getting a little light, And I always carry a bag of dog treats with me when I'm at the park.
Mm-hmm.
And I just saw a dog over there, and I just ran over to that dog and I gave him a treat. I mean, it just made that. I mean, I know this is silly, but it made the dog stay, kind of.
Yeah, no, that's a person who I don't even know is paying attention to me.
Such a little thing. Okay, but those sort of things add up. And so that's what I think I've learned the most, or what I think is the most important, is that our kindness and compassion, little things that adds up.
That's right. And it evolves. It moves forward. So
yeah.
What's one of the most powerful readings you've ever done? Whatever part you want to share about it.
Okay, powerful reading. Okay. Well, I was thinking about this a little bit because I'm working on my book.
Right.
I mean, I've got so many stories, but let me just think. Okay, here's an example. Okay, and I guess this would be considered a reading because it was a reading, but it is a hospice patient too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was at the bedside of somebody who's actively dying, which means they have a few days left, and I could feel the presence of a huge angel. I mean, so I could feel it, sense it, and that for me, then I step back and I get a better look. And this was, I mean, it must have been, I mean, if you could go outside of the ceiling, it would have been 20, 30 feet, really big. And it was purple, kind of like the color you're wearing.
Oh, okay.
A little bit lighter or a little more red in it.
Shimmery, probably.
Yeah, shimmery, but soft blanket-like.
Mm-hmm.
It felt really soft. It didn't have wings, just
Mm-hmm.
light. Okay, so that, and when I tuned into that angel, I knew, don't ask me how, I knew it was Archangel Azrael.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we think of the angel of death.
Right.
And I'd never seen the angel of death before.
Oh, really?
No, I've said lots of angels, tons of angels, but I haven't seen Archangel Azrael. At least that I knew I had. And the message was, I'm making sure she doesn't take a wrong turn. I know that's so simple. Like she would stay there and just to make sure, because she could have easily stayed because she had 5 children, young.
Mm-hmm.
Or I mean, they ranged in ages, but some of them were college age, some of them were like 7. Okay.
Yeah, that's young. That's young if you're a mom thinking about leaving, right?
Right. And so I think Archangel Azrael is saying, hey, she may not, we want her to come to the light. We don't want her to be earthbound.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then I also saw 2 green angels next to Archangel Azrael, very green, like grass green. And when I tuned into them, we are the guards. We're guardians. Okay. Again, they were just going to stay there days and days and days. Okay. So that was pretty powerful to me because it was so big. Then, like the next day, I saw healers that looked to me like they were doing Reiki, but they were in the spirit world, and they were above her body holding. There was 3 on each side of her, and they were just holding energy. Okay, I guess I say energy. I'm not sure exactly what they were healing, but I could see them very clearly. So I don't. Then when she passed, and I went to see her. She had not actually stopped breathing, but when I checked in with her on a psychic level, she was already in the spirit world, and she was walking down an aisle, like getting married, although just by herself. She was holding flowers, and she was wearing like a wedding dress, sort of. And all the votives there, and I knew it. I just knew Jesus was there to meet her. So, but she died a few hours later. So that's when, to me, that was a powerful thing. I don't know if you call that a reading so much.
No, that's perfectly fine. I mean, it fits the bill.
Yeah. And it's funny because I called her husband after she passed, which I always, would do to give condolences. And he said, and he was open to different things because he was a chiropractor, but he didn't believe in angels. And I said, well, I saw this big purple. I didn't want to maybe just say it was an angel or anything. And I just saw a big purple light around her. He said, funny, I was just reading about Archangel Azrael coming in as a purple light. And I'm getting chills right now as I say that.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was writing about this for my book, Archangel Azrael came and showed up for me
Mm-hmm.
and winked like, good job.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's so. My second husband died, and I was with him when he died, and we knew he was dying. He had a cancer, and he'd had a stroke. He was paralyzed, and he was just like, "Get me out of here." And I could tell the Wednesday he died on a Saturday. The Wednesday before, he totally rallied. He had people came and saw him. He said goodbye to a lot of folks, and from then on, he said keep them out because they were calling his energy back. And
Yeah.
I swear there were times I could tell he was walking over to see his family that's on the other side.
Yeah.
And he was 72 at the time. So he was the baby of the family. He had quite a few of them over there.
Yeah.
And so the night when he finally, it was six in the morning, but when I saw him draw his last breath, I knew he hadn't been there for about an hour.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
I didn't leave him alone. And on the radio was his favorite Beethoven symphony.
Oh, wow. Beautiful. I love that how that happens.
And so a lot, enough of death and dying. We've handled that topic.
I can tell you something else that was very powerful, but it's not
Okay,
in
you
the
could
time.
tell me one more. You've got time.
It's not about, it's not a reading per se, but I'll just say how I started seeing colors because colors are big for me.
I know.
And so I was in a Donna Eden 5-day workshop in Santa Fe. This was around 2003. I remember it because it was very powerful. Everything around that time was very powerful. But anyway, at the last day, we were having our chakras cleared. Okay, and the man that was working on me, he had one hand because the other hand he had lost in a construction accident. So he only had one hand. That hand, you could see light coming out of it, even before he started doing any work. I mean, like, whoa, and it was big, huge. Okay, he's doing the chakra clearing. He's all done. I open my eyes, and all of a sudden, the world has tons of colors. So many color, I couldn't see through the colors. It was so thick. And then I would turn my head, and it would be almost like a beam coming out of my third eye, across the ballroom. That everything was vibrating, everything was in color, and it just affirmed that everything is energy, everything is color. Even if we don't see our colors with our open eyes, we all have colors. We're all energy. And it just affirmed that. And then really, I'd say for a week after that, the colors were very vibrant. Everything was like even, and what I would say, inanimate object, a piece of art. I would see that vibrating. So it's a very interesting time. Yeah.
That's fun because, to have a breakthrough on a skill you're going to use for the rest of your life like that, that's really important. And you have to those who are listening, you have to get to that point where you're ready to have that come in.
Yes, that's right.
If it came in and you were just sitting there and it was a Thursday, it might be overwhelming. Like it would be. Like it's like as a close friend of ours said, when she started really seeing the other beings and knowing they were there and talking to them, she went to a friend and said, "I've got a brain tumor."
Right. Right. Yep. I know recently I can understand feeling that you have a brain tumor because, this is maybe, I don't know, 6-7 months ago. All of a sudden I thought, I'm not in control of what's happening. And when we feel out of control, instead of being a gentle, all my development's been very gentle, opening. But that was like all of a sudden I think, I'm somewhere and I'm not even planning on it. And it was very uncomfortable. And I thought, I'm going crazy. It only lasted not too long, an hour maybe or something. But still, I can see how people can be afraid.
Oh yeah, and and a good scoop of skepticism towards it might be something wrong. Keep watching it because it could be a health thing that's coming up.
Oh,
Okay.
could be. That's right.
Uh,
Yeah.
how do you deliver sensitive or complex messages?
Okay. Well, first of all, I truly believe we have to enable people. I never want to disable anybody. I always want everybody to
Hmm.
feel uplifted, no matter even if it's bad or complex information. I stay on the positive side. I bring it in a way that is, I would never say, "Oh, you're going to die in 6 months." I would never say that. Um, but I might say, "Oh, let's look at some." You might be having a challenging time, or I might just change it so that it's not so dire. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I feel like it's very important. Presentation and the words you use are just as important as what it is you're presenting.
Hmm. And that you have to believe that what you're presenting is the best way to go. Because I know being in the health field, you probably get questions about that. And I'm always very awkward about that because I really want people to go see the people that can fix them. I don't want them to sit there and stagnate waiting for spirit to come. I mean,
Oh, exactly.
spirit can find you in the ER. Let me tell you, I know spirit can find you when I'm,
Sure.
um,
Never without
mhm. That's never without the spirit. Okay, what advice do you give? Oh, this is you. This is from you. This is advice and inspiration from Kim.
Okay.
It's your time. What advice would you give someone starting to explore their gifts?
Oh, be gentle on yourself. Be very gentle. Be loving. Be compassionate to yourself as much as possible. Give yourself breaks. Sit in the light. Sit with the light and in the heart. Again, I just feel that is so important as a foundation, and to find some friends that feel like you
Hmm.
could talk to. I think it's important to have community. Really, really do.
Hmm.
Community is everything in this work, I believe. So finding a community, whether it's a class or whether it's on Facebook or however you're going to find your community, I would say do that so that you can feel like you're not alone in your world.
No,
Yeah.
because you can feel isolated if you don't reach out.
Yes, it can be a lonely journey.
What do you wish you'd known earlier when you're doing all this work?
Okay. Wish I would have known earlier. Interesting. Well, one that I could do it, and that there's
Hmm.
going to be different phases, right? And some things are going to
Hmm.
click, some things are not going to click. Because when I was starting shamanism and I wasn't feeling very successful, I didn't give up though. Literally, I still practiced every single day, even though I felt why, but I still did. Um, So I guess I wish I would have known that even though I felt like I wasn't good in one area, I could be good in another area.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
would have known.
that's and to try everything. Just because this one doesn't work, if you pick up cards and they mean nothing to you, then keep going. Keep looking at all the things. Go look at numerology. You were lucky you had a lot of those things around you, so you understood the base. But there's
Yeah,
so much stuff out there.
right,
And
right.
then, are there any daily habits or exercises you recommend? And I know you're going to say meditation, so.
Okay, okay. There's that, but I also believe in an a daily energy routine that I think is important.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's just a 5 minutes. I usually do it at the park, but I can do it. You can do it anywhere while you're boiling water for tea. It's just some tapping, and we've talked about this a little bit before.
Mhm.
I go the kidney meridian, the spleen, and just different things like that. I do that every day, and then I try to clear, like setting up my space as much as I can. Like I don't want to have, even though I could say my room is a little bit cluttery right now, but I think keeping
Mhm.
your space where you can enjoy it, and even if it's a corner where that you can call your own space,
Mhm.
I think that's important to have a space that you don't use it for anything else.
But you.
Yeah, that's right. But you,
Mhm.
yeah.
How can someone trustworthy psychic communities or mentors? Since you mentioned meeting people and
Yeah.
getting into groups, how do you find them?
Right. Okay. Um, okay. Well, there are different ones on Facebook you can search. Okay. There's also
Mm-hmm.
me. So unless you have a friend who's told you about it, you're going to maybe have to just experiment and give it a shot. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, a class, and not every class is for everybody. Just because you could take one class and perhaps, oh, well, I didn't like that, didn't resonate with me, that doesn't mean it could be the teacher versus the topic. So I would
Mm-hmm.
just know that um, give it 2 shots instead of one if something didn't resonate.
Mm-hmm.
But classes are a really good way because you're learning the same thing. So, like a lot of my friends now are friends that I made in classes. I'd
Mm-hmm.
say, a lot. And we still will get together, even from years ago. Yeah. And maybe we have a spirit circle or things like that. And I think spirit circles are a nice way. It doesn't cost any money. Somebody has to
Mm-hmm.
lead it, you know, and you have to have a common goal, a common goal. Maybe you're going to work on, lipstick reading, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so as long as you're in this there for the same reason and you have the determination and desire and you're committed, then I think that was a good group. If somebody's starting to do things, and you are uncomfortable, one that you could either leave that group or maybe ask that person if everybody else is cohesive, but one person, you could gently ask, or somehow move away from that one person. Usually that will work out on its own though.
I can tell you a good way to get rid of people you don't like.
Okay, how?
Archangel Zadkiel. He's for forgetting.
Uh-huh.
And there's a very famous medium named Radley Valentine, and it's in his book on becoming his autobiography about becoming who he is.
Mm-hmm.
It's he got to a point where he had friends that they'd always partied with, they spent all the certain holidays with, but he had outgrown where there were not in a bad way, but they were still off there and he was off here, and he didn't want to hurt him, so he was studying on Archangel Zadkiel, and he said, okay, so he had Zadkiel slowly remove Radley from their memory.
Oh, wow.
And he said that there was a holiday and they called him right at the last minute. So it gave Radley a reason to not go because, well, I didn't know we were doing it. Then the next year he didn't even get the phone call.
Oh, wow.
So if you want to quietly use the archangels, that's one of the archangel tricks I know.
Okay. Love that.
All
But
right.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it doesn't happen too often, but sometimes
No.
things have to move around sometimes.
And then there's what's the biggest lesson you've learned in your psychic journey? This is the small closer question.
The biggest lesson? Everybody's sensitive and words matter. So when somebody's in development, for instance, and you say something like, well, how you're way off. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that can affect them for the rest of their life. And they're let's say, had been very dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
So I just know that when we speak to others, use words carefully to encourage, not discourage, to be positive in support so that people will continue to want to learn on the journey and feel the love, really, because it's all love. We all come from the same source. It doesn't matter whether you call it Reiki or healing touch, it all comes from the same source.
Mm-hmm.
Or, um, so everybody has a role to play in this
Right.
world. Everybody has an important role, whether we know it or not. We're all important here. An important ingredient about this journey that we're on right now. This is a big time. And so we should support each other.
That's true, because we're all living in a big sea of energy. And there's a lot of good energy flowing through there, positive ions and negative ones. And We gotta have to tie on to the ones that help us do our best work.
Yes.
Well, I want to thank Medium Kim for showing up for me today and being here. And we've had as high as 60 people watching us
Oh,
live, so that'll grow because I know a lot of people watch them later. Um, there's Catherine Gilbert asked a question about wanting to contact her godmother, and I think it's in the psychic sense because she had described to her what Germany was like. And this woman's living in a lot of fear right now. Okay, Catherine, I'm going to tell you, you have all the powers you need to touch your godmother. I already felt that when I was looking at the question. I'm not going to lay cards on it or anything else, but I'm going to tell you for you to go find nice news, find good stuff to watch. Don't tie in to the images that match what your aunt told you. It doesn't mean they're not happening out there. But for each of us, when we let those images go, that weakens the people creating those images.
oh yes. Weakens the people. Yeah, and us.
It tears you up. Yeah, I was talking to a reader last night who's been hesitant about coming on to do the psychic profiles. And he's like, why would anyone want to hear about me? And I was explaining to him what my philosophy about it is. So he's finally going to agree to come on. But when we were talking, he was talking about that. And he really, after the elections, dove into the goo.
Okay.
And I really, the day after the elections, because I've done enough, I've worked in that world. I was a political consultant. For those of you who don't know that people can get out of that nasty business. And I just knew I could not. I knew I could see what was coming, and I didn't want to be part of that kind of a storm. And it starts with an S and it ends with a T. Oh, yeah, Catherine, she's around you. She said, all I want to know is if she was around me. She's around you.
Godmother in spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely, she's around. I feel so close the way I feel it when you just said that. One, I'm getting chills, but two, it's almost like I'm warm all over. Like I feel like she's that close.
Yes, and she wants you to understand the bells she planted in your brain.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So she's there. And those images you're seeing make it even clearer to you why you knew her, why she's a part of your life in this life.
Interesting. I'm getting the image of a calla lily, and I don't know why a white calla lily. I don't know if that means anything to Catherine or her godmother. I don't know, but I'm just putting that out there. As one white calla lily, I just feel like this is a symbol of where she is now.
You know, that's so weird because yesterday I was walking into a Trader Joe's and there were calla lilies and in with all the other weird flowers that they have for fall. And I'm like, calla lilies? I always think of those as springtime flowers where I'm from, but
right. Well, they're probably grown somewhere different.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they're there. We have lots of greenhouses around us, but it's not that. It's just I hadn't seen a calla lily in so long, and then you mentioned it today.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think what it means in spirit. The spirit meaning, I believe it's purity and love.
Yeah, I know it has a lot to do with nuns. Every nun I ever knew that had a garden around their nunneries, they always had calla lilies.
Oh.
I grew up in an area that had lots of Catholic schools.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she loves you back, Catherine, so don't worry about it. She's there. And may all of you have all the protection you need and all the guidance you need. And I hope some of our words can help make this time better for you and a time for you to grow and understand how we're all growing to a better place.
Yes, I know it's hard to believe we are, though, Nancy Jean.
Oh, I know we are.
Thank you for doing this. Thank you for having so many people on and having such great interviewing skills and spreading the light.
Okay, well, thank you. And people ask me, those are 20 questions I've been asked while I was doing readings. So I kept a list of them. And I thought, well, they want to know about me, they'll want to know about other people. So tomorrow is Sun Psychic Jean. And then next week, I'm going to have, when people talk about how can I grow my skills, I'm going to have a friend I've known for 48 years that did a lot of the best growing years of my skills with me. Her name's Cheryl. She and her sister's a healer. So they're going to both be on with me. Bye.
Beautiful. Bye. Thank you. Thank you.